So our distance learners at home, don't forget to check out the video on the YouTube page that the 8th grade put together and the convocation today. They chose the gospel, if I can find it here. Where's the gospel coming from?
Mark or
Luke. I believe this is when we talked about this, or it might have been we talked about the other. A reading from the Gospel according to Luke. Jesus looked around and saw rich people dropping their gifts in the temple treasury. And he also saw a very poor widow dropping in 2 little copper coins. He said, "I tell you that this poor widow put in more than all the others, for the others offered their gifts from what they had to spare of their riches. But she, poor as she is, gave all she had to live on." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Jameson, my booty drawer is too full right now to dump a bunch of other stuff in it. Who wants to tell me what you got out of this? All right.
Give everything to anyone who needs it.
Say it again.
Give everything to anyone who needs it.
It's not about how much we give, it's what we give.
Who knows what this word means? Tithe.
Oh, yes. It's like the water.
That's a tithe. This is tithe. In the Old Testament, we see that one of the requirements was that the Jewish people would tithe. Now, we said most of the people in Jewish times were what occupation?
Carpenters.
Farmers or some type of agricultural thing. Shepherds. So if I'm a farmer, you're usually not going to put in coins because that's not what you have. What do you have?
Food.
Corn.
Crops. So you give a tithe of your crops. If I'm a shepherd, I'd give a tithe of my flock. How much is that?
10%.
10%. So a tithe is giving 10%. And which 10% do you give?
The
The
good.
good temper.
The best 10% you have. People today, we don't understand that principle of giving. This is like normal giving, and then there's like the widow. She didn't give normally. She didn't give just a tithe, according to this story. She what?
Give 100%.
So she gave what is called sacrificial giving. That means what? If you remember,
We
this
suffer from
this
it.
is who we are. We're what? Priests, prophets, and kings. Which one has to do with sacrifice?
priest.
Priests. So as priests, we're called to give sacrificially, or we're called to sacrifice. That means whatever we do is going to what?
Make us suffer.
It's going to hurt, right? So that's different than a tithe. Most people can give 10% what? And it doesn't what?
Hurt you.
It doesn't hurt you. But we see most people don't do this. You know what the average?
2.
I think it's actually less than 1%. Because when we first built the school here, and they did studies about it, and whether or not they'll be able to repay the loan in millions of dollars. No, we still owe millions of dollars.
Millions?
Millions. But they said if St. Joseph were to give 5%, If everybody that was a member of St. Joseph gave 5%, there would be no loan. You wouldn't even need one.
Are we doing that?
5% of like your net worth?
5% of your, whatever you earn.
A lot.
That's not even a what?
In like a year?
That's not even a tithe.
It's a tight.
Wait, like 5% of all the money you make in a year?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
If everybody did that, there wouldn't be.
Absolutely.
But see, most people don't understand this principle of tithing. They never learn it. So they just give whatever. Some don't even have a set amount. They just throw in whatever. Okay? The guy that Barry Sanders. Anybody know who Barry Sanders is?
Oh, he was a Democratic person.
No.
That's Bernie
That's
Sanders.
Bernie.
Barry Sanders was one of the greatest NFL running backs there ever was.
So Bernie Sanders. I see the difference.
But his first contract that he signed was like $1 million. And so it was all over the papers. Because the minute he signed the contract, he wrote out a check to his church. What's 10% of $1 million?
$100,000.
$100,000 check he wrote to his church. And people were amazed when to him it was what?
Nothing.
That's just the giving you do. You just do that.
1%.
Okay, God, this is God's, it's not mine. First 10% of whatever I earn is God's. See, if we had that mentality, we wouldn't have struggling churches and things like that. I found this when I was in Hay Springs. We were in a missionary parish. You know what a missionary parish is?
It's the people who help people.
Means the town was so small it didn't have its own priest. So the priest lived in the town next to us, which was 12 miles away. And then one mass a week, or one of the weekend masses, he would come and say it at our church. So we probably had maybe 100 people in the whole service, okay, that were part of the parish. Now, when I first started teaching, I made about $11,000. 33 years ago. So that means what?
10% of $8,000.
So $1,100 went to my parish. That's just a given. You just do it. So at the end of the year, at this particular parish, they gave you a spreadsheet or gave you a sheet like this, and then across here they put all the totals that were given throughout the year, and they usually ranges, you know, from $0 to $25, all the way up. Guess what the highest one up here was? 1,000 to $1,100. Guess how many people gave that? One.
That was you?
And I know that my teacher salary, we had bankers, we had lawyers, we had people that made a lot more money than I did. But this is what first awoke in my eyes, because I just assumed, because I was always taught this, I just assumed what? Everybody does it. And I will guarantee and show you, most people think they can't do it. Because why?
It's gonna hurt you.
It'll hurt you.
You need that money, okay? But time and time again, God shows you, you can't outgive God. So if you give God what belongs to Him, and it doesn't have to necessarily be directly to your church. Basically, the 10% is God's. It's anything that's doing God's work. So even given to the school here could be what?
Doing God's work.
Part of your tithe. Okay? But you should start this right now. I'm encouraging you to start this right now. because you can't outget God. I can tell you time and time again, all 5 of my children have graduated college. None of them owe loans.
That's nice.
I'm the sole breadwinner of our family. My wife has a little craft thing she does on the side, makes maybe $1,000 a year. So my salary, raised 5 children. I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just saying this to brag on who? God.
Jesus.
God is faithful. He covers you. But guess where I always get lied to and Satan comes in and tries to get me? That's the area he tries to get me.
You need this one.
This is the area he tries to get me to doubt God. Is the whole area of finances. Even though, just like the Jewish people, God did all these wonderful things to the Jewish people. Open the Red Sea, let manna disappear in the desert. And what did the people end up doing?
Betraying him and
Yeah.
worshiping another God.
And I look back and how could they do that? And then I look at my own self. I've had 33 years of God's faithfulness, and then when something comes up that, like, when I crash my car, what's the first thing on my mind?
Why God?
Shame.
What am I going to do about this money? We're going to have to come up with some money to get a new car. Being all worried and concerned about that versus what? Trusting God that He's always covered us. He has always been faithful. That's why I'm really not frightened at all about COVID. Because I know God's in charge. Whose feast day today? Lots of feast days today.
It's Pope Saint Clementine, Clement, Saint Columban, blessed
That's highest.
What do we have after this?
I'm kind of biased towards one because I have some Irish descent in me. So which one do you think I'm biased towards?
Pope Saint Clement.
Miguel Augustine.
Which one of those is the Irish one?
Miguel Augustine.
St. Clement.
You think Miguel is Irish?
Yeah.
No.
Or like Juan, he's Irish.
That's Mexican.
No.
Caesar.
Mexican. Change my
Let's see who they put in this book.
Change my mind.
Stand up if you think St. Clement's the Irish guy. Stand up if you think St. Columba is the Irish person.
That can actually be the Irish guy.
Here you go, Columban. Actually, that's probably accurate. Columban will win.
Stand up if you think Miguel
Well,
is.
German.
How many people in here are of Irish descent? Stand up.
I think
No. No.
my last name's Irish.
Only 4 people are Irish descent?
Maybe your great
Where's Lucas?
grandpa.
Yeah.
My grandma.
My great
grandpa.
An Irishman and monk of the community of St. Congal in Bangor, Columban, and 12 companions left their monastery to travel to France to preach the gospel. He was also a missionary in Switzerland and then in Italy, where he died. There are some people believe that St. Columban actually was the first to come to the New World. And everywhere that he went, he brought the gospel. There are 3 great Irish saints, so if you're Irish, you should know the 3 great Irish saints. Everybody knows one of them. St. Patrick. Well, St. Columban is the other one, and the third one is my home parish in North Minneapolis,
Saint Mary.
St. Bridget,
Margaret.
okay? St. Bridget.
I can't believe you're the black.
Yeah.
St. Clement is recognized as the third pope after Peter, and who was second? I think it was, strange name for number 2, I forget. I forget who number 2 was. Little is known about him except that he was martyred in exile. According to tradition, he was a former slave of the Roman imperial court. May we follow his teaching that charity unites us to God. Charity knows no schism. What's a schism? Break or divides. It does not rebel, it does all things together. What's another word for charity?
Service. Justice. Love.
Love.
You can see her.
And Blessed Miguel was born in Guadalupe, Mexico. He entered the Jesuits because of the dangerous political situation in Mexico. He studied in exile, where he was ordained. After his return to Mexico, since public worship was forbidden, he became an undercover priest. He was arrested in order to be executed without trial. Like him, may we proclaim the principles of the church, the reign of love, without forgetting that is also the reign of justice.
Stop.
All right, if you
So
don't
let's
stop
take
talking.
out your section 1 sheets
Hurry up.
for social studies.
Can I get this in my locker? I have to write.
And for our distance learners, we're going to be watching 2 of the movies that are down under the movies on the Google Social Studies page. So if you want to go check those out, they're the 13-minute ones, but you can watch any of them. So we're going to talk about Greece and Italy today, and the notes are also on there. So we're going to leave it at that versus you trying to watch it on our board here. You can just check them out down there.